Hi everyone, it's now 2 o'clock, so we'll get started. I'm sure there'll be a couple who join us a little late. But yeah, so thanks for joining us all at our second Ask Me Live studio. My name's Antonia. I'm a student here at MUN. I'm studying recreation in the HKR faculty, and I'm also a memorial ambassador, which means I get to do lots of fun things like this. I highly recommend it to anyone who thinks they want to get out and explore more opportunities. I'm MUN. Hopefully, I would have loved to be doing this in person with you all, but here we are. So we have to make the best of it. So today I'm going to interview and we're going to hear from Miss Meghan. Correct me if I'm pronouncing your last name wrong. I apologize. McKibbon, and she's joining us from the library. So before we get started, just a couple housekeeping items. So this session is being recorded, and by your participation, you've consented to that. You've already on, which is great. Make sure you're all muted and you have your video turned off. It's kind of when everyone has the video on, the bandwidth can get really slow. And if you have any questions that we don't get to, just keep checking in and feel free to remind us. So yeah, let's get started. Meghan, tell us a little bit about yourself and your role at the library.
Sure, I'd love to. So I'm, like Antonia said, Meghan McKibbon. I am a public services librarian at the QEII Library. And I work, usually we all have sort of one specific role that we do, one specialized role, and then we do a lot of other things. So my specialized role is that I work with the engineering department, and I do collections for them. I make sure they know what's going on, and I teach classes kind of like this, and I have done some Zoom classes already, so you may have a librarian come in to talk to you in one of your classes about the research specifically for that class. And I also do a lot of general stuff. So I help people, if they have questions about research, I'm here to help make sure you get the answers that you need. So what is a librarian? I like to start a little bit about that. So I have an undergraduate degree in chemistry, not always the subject you think of for a librarian, but I think it just gives me a different perspective on information, because librarians, it's not just about history and English, it's also about all disciplines. All disciplines need to build research on existing research, and so that's an important role that we play. So yeah, I studied chemistry. I was terrible in the lab, but I was pretty good at the sort of studying chemistry and the information side of things. So I decided to get a master's degree in library and information science, which is how I wound up as a librarian. So I worked at a couple different schools. I spent the first sort of 8 years of my career working in the US at some US schools, and I'm really happy to be back in Canada, especially right now. So I am Canadian, and it's nice to be home. The kinds of things that librarians can help you with, we help with research, and we can help all the way at the beginning when you're thinking about your question. We can help you get some background information on that topic to kind of give you some sense of what are people writing about it, what are people researching. We can help you think about the types of information that answer your questions. So quite often as a science librarian, sometimes we just get focused a lot on journal articles, and then a literature, if you're taking a literature course, you might just be focusing on books, but there are actually different types of resources that can answer your questions, and we can kind of help you think about that. Then once you've thought about that, we can help you find sources. We can help you cite them correctly. So if your professor tells you you need to use APA citation style, we can help you figure out what that means and figure out how to get going. And we can also help you manage all of your references. So there are some software tools that you can use. If you're writing a paper that has like 20 sources, we can help you manage all of that and keep it in sort of a more organized database. And then also with those tools, they also help you write your paper. So when you're actually writing it, you don't have to manage, if you're doing a numbered style, you don't have to manage all the numbers all by yourself. The software will actually help you work with Word to get that all straightened out. So it makes it a lot easier in the long run. that's kind of what I wanted to tell you a little bit about me. There's lots of stuff I want to make sure we cover, but I wanted to see when people have questions, whether I can kind of answer those questions and make sure that I cover everything. So why don't we, Antonia, does it make sense to open it up to questions? And then at the end, if there's something that's on my list that we haven't covered, I'll make sure to talk about that.
Yeah, so for anyone who has any questions, you guys can put it in the chat, and Megan will answer it from there. And you can, there are no good questions. Trust me, when I came into mine, walking into that library was really overwhelming. So there, definitely ask any questions you might think of.
And why don't I start with that, Antonia? You mentioned walking into the library. You won't be walking into the library in September, unfortunately. Since the campus is closed, we're really following what the campus is doing, and so that we've made the decision not to open in September. But that doesn't mean that we're not here to still help you. We are, and we've got people available. Come September, you'll be able to ask for help over our chat service 7 days a week into the evenings. There'll be plenty of help available. We also just rolled out contactless pickup for all of MUN students, faculty, and staff. So if there are books that you want in the stacks, we can get them for you. That's not a problem. We just have a different way of doing things. But we are still available even though the physical libraries are closed.
So Megan, that online chat now for help, is that available now for this summer semester or just starting in the fall?
It is available right now. The hours right now, you can check the website, but I believe it's 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. But once we hit September, it'll be 7 days a week and until 10 in the evenings.
Fantastic, thank you.
And I talk about the libraries, so I should also point out that there are several libraries on campus. So there's the health sciences library. So if you're a nursing student or something health sciences related, or even doing a project that's health sciences related, you may need resources from the health sciences library. We also have the education library, which is in the education building and specializing. We have a actually really strong children's literature collection. So I have 2 children, and I will sometimes take out books from the children's section for my kids. And that's open to everybody as well when we're open. There's a music resource center in the music building, which has scores and all kinds of CDs and music related resources. And then, am I missing any? And then there's the QEII. There's also the Grenfell Library, which is in Corner Brook.
If someone wanted to take out something, like, is there any resources such as audiobooks or movies related to any projects they might be doing?
We don't have a strong audiobook collection. I'll give you a heads up on that, but we do have a really, really strong collection of electronic books. So a lot of the books, especially over the past couple of months, have pretty much exclusively been electronic books that we've purchased. But we also have some streaming videos. The other day, we have the National Film Board of Canada online system, and so I was watching some, really old documentaries and that, but they also have some newer stuff in there as well. And we also have physical DVDs. So last semester, one course was using Mean Girls, so we own a copy of Mean Girls. So you may be able to find some movies as well.
Good to know. Do you
Yes.
love Mean Girls?
Yes, yeah. And thanks, Garrett. You're pointing out how to find information. How can I find library resources online since the campus is closed? Thank you. That's a really good question. So I'm going to switch to sharing my screen, and then I'll show you how to do that. So let's make sure I can do that. So I am going to share my screen. Okay. I pulled up the Commons website because I want to mention the Commons if we get to that. The Commons is a partnership between the libraries, Campus IT, and CITL, and they provide spaces, workshops, tutoring all across campus, specifically in the Commons and the QEII Library, but there's also the Hatcher Commons. And so we do provide those resources. So I'll First, I'll show you how to find resources from the library though. So this is our website. If you ever want to find it, you can just Google MUN Library. I have it as my sort of default page because that's where I work, but it's right there. And this is our search box. We call it OneSearch. We also, if you want to know a little bit more about what I'm talking about, there's also the COVID-19 Library Services FAQ information about contactless pickup and chat with us online. So we can just type in any topic. I'm just trying to think of something. We can look pandemic. We'll just look at resources on pandemics. And when you do the search, you're going to get a mix of results. You're going to get combinations of, actually, weirdly, this first one is a board game, I believe. It's not actually even that. We also have some background information. So this is a reference entry in an encyclopedia. We'll have journal articles and we'll have books. And you can see more about the types of resources we have over here. And in this case, now you may want to choose full text online, seeing as we're sort of limited, but you can also get books that we have. So we have newspaper articles, journal articles, book reviews, reference entries, and I'm sure we also have books as well. We have fewer of them. So we have 2,000 books that talk somewhere about pandemics. And you can see they're also spread out amongst the libraries, the QEII Library and also the Health Sciences Library. So that's how you'd find the resources. So let's just, I'm picking one out randomly. So here's this COVID, this is a journal article, and I can tell that it says article up here, and then I can just download the PDF or click on the full text available. And let's just find a book. And so this first one, if that's exactly what I want, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sign in. With my MUN, it's the same MUN ID that you use for everything else. And once you've signed in, you'll have an option to request the book. And when you're off campus, our system recognizes your IP address and it'll prompt you to log in with your username and password if you're off campus. So access to our electronic resources are available to you from wherever you are in the world. So now that I've logged in, I have this option to request, and I can request that book and then decide when to pick it up. So I'm going to stop sharing and come back so I can see what's going on. Okay.
Thank you for that.
Why don't I talk, since we don't have any questions right now, why don't I just follow up on talking about the Commons and technology? So the Commons physically is also closed following the campus being closed, but there are still a lot of things that are being offered. The Commons is offering workshops, so things that would be really, really helpful for your classes, learning about how to use Microsoft Office, but then also some sort of fun tangential things. I saw that they're offering a workshop on how to make a cell phone holder. So if you want to design a 3D cell phone holder, you can design that using technology. And then when we're open, you could go to the makerspace and 3D print that and then have your own cell phone holder. So that kind of thing. They are still offering tutoring, so online obviously, but you can find out more if you have specific questions about Microsoft Office or some other software. And the Writing Center also partners with us. They offer tutoring from the library when we're open, but they've also switched to online meetings as well. There is technology available on campus. We have 2 computer labs open. They're not run by the libraries, but I just want to mention them so that people know that they're available. There's one in Chemistry 2003, and that does have printing, and then one in Engineering 3000 that doesn't have printing. And they're open. They have decent hours throughout the week. And there's also a computer lab at Grenfell that's open and available. since I know not everybody has the same access to internet. The Navigate app for mobile devices isn't available in Egypt. So will there be restrictions for the books available, or will everything be available regardless of the country? We won't be able to mail you physical books if you're going to be in Egypt during the semester. We won't be able to mail our physical books to you, but ebooks and everything we shouldn't have any restrictions for making our ebooks available to anybody from anywhere. That shouldn't be a problem. I haven't heard of anybody having any problems geographically.
If there was an issue like that, Megan, who should they reach out to? So for example, if they are trying to download a book and it's not being available in their country, is there someone that they could email specifically?
I would go to the online chat, and then if it's not, if somebody's not operating it, you can still email a question. You'll have the option to submit your question as an email. So I think that would be the best route. We handle those questions all the time. And sometimes it's an issue of somebody not being a registered student. So they were a student, they're taking a year off and they've lost access, that kind of thing. So quite often we can troubleshoot and figure out what's going on. Most of the time it's not, there's nothing, it's just kind of, it's more of a administrative thing. Regular students who are enrolled and taking classes shouldn't have any problems. You just have to remember your MUN password.
Awesome.
If there's an article that I need for a course and it's not available through the library, can the library request it for me? So I'm going to mention two things about that. I'm going to go back to sharing my screen because I want to make sure everybody knows how to access their course resources. We work really hard with some faculty to make sure all of your course readings and your course resources are put together in one spot. And what we do for a lot of that is if we have copyright, if we can do it within copyright rules, we'll actually scan chapters and make the chapters available to you. So you actually don't have to go out and figure out how to get all these readings yourself. We've got them in one spot and you can download them. So I want to show you that, and then I'll get to the question of what if we don't have it. So I want to make sure everybody knows about course resources, and then if it's not there and we can't help you find it, we can show you, I can tell you how to get it. So I'm just going to share my screen again. Okay, did that work? Oh, now you're seeing my whole screen. You can see how messy the desktop is. That's okay. Over here under course resources, e-reserves, when you click on that, you'll be prompted to log in. I've already logged in, so it takes me right in. But I can go down here to find lists and type in whatever my course code is. So, or I can, I'm just going to pick one of these, or I'll pick an HKR course. I see one down there, so I know there'll be something. So I'm just going to type in HKR. If you know the number, you could put in that. You can also search by the faculty's name. So here's this one. I want to find one. This one has 27 items in 4 sections. If I click add, it's always going to be in my homepage when I log into the system. But I can go in here and I should see all of the readings that I have. So here's a chapter. I can download the chapter. If it's a physical book, we do what we can, but there are articles there. You can find links to videos or anything that you might be using for that course. So I would check there first. And if it's not there, what I would do is I would chat with us, see if we can find it. But if we really don't have it, we can request it through something called document delivery. The same kind of thing. There's often a request button. We have a link up here to using the library's document delivery, some more information about that. So what we do is we contact a library that has that article, and they'll send it to us through an online system, and you'll get an email when it's ready, and you can then go in and download it. So we can normally, under normal times, I would say you could also get books, but unfortunately, this is just not a time. No libraries are really sending physical books. But if you need a book that we don't have, we're actually doing everything we can to purchase the book electronically to make it available to you. If it's not available electronically, we'll see if we can get it in print so that we can do the contactless pickup. So we really are working very hard to make sure that everybody can get whatever they need.
Awesome. So maybe you could talk a little bit about the process of when we do end up back in the university and back in the library, and we're in class. So when you do want to take out a book, you need your student ID, correct?
Yes, you do. And if you don't have your student ID, we will take any other kind of picture ID.
Okay, and what about booking a study room?
Booking a study room. When you are ready to book a study room, we do have, from our library website, there's a link that says book a QE2 study room, and you can click on that. We also use the same system for booking study rooms, I believe at HSL and at Grenfell as well. So you can book those study rooms there. We have study rooms, we have group study rooms, we have single study rooms. So it's sometimes nice if you know you're going to be working with a group, you can book a study room up to 2 days in advance and then know that you'll have a space to work with your group.
Okay. And you might not know the answer to this now, I guess, but how do you think, like, I guess our post-COVID or during COVID, how will that impact how we go back to the library? So is there going to be less study rooms to book? Are the common areas gonna be open, or is it still kind of unsure?
It's definitely unsure. I think no matter what we're looking at, we're going to look at making sure that we do it in a safe way. So we'll probably, the steps that are being taken to make sure that the computer labs are being cleaned that are open on campus, will probably increase our janitorial so that the building and spaces are cleaned on a more regular basis. We'll probably, I imagine we'll implement some social distancing. So actually right before we closed down, what we did was we closed every other computer so that there was a little bit of space. There were a couple of days when nobody knew what we were doing. So I imagine that we would continue doing that. And we'll probably look at staffing as well, but we'll get there. We will. I'm looking forward to being back in the office.
I think I know a lot of students really miss studying in the library.
Yeah.
And I'm sure going into the fall, I know the library is a huge, a university experience for incoming students, but everyone will get there.
Yeah. The library is closed for the fall, but are there study spaces to gather either individually as a group or as a group right now? I think since the campus is closed, we're really not encouraging people to congregate. So up to this point, I don't know of any other study spaces on campus. And I'm just going to look at my list and make sure I talked about everything.
And I'll do one last call if anyone has any other questions before we finish up.
Okay. I wanted to mention there are some resources available to you to help you get ready for September. If you're a new incoming student, there's the MUN 101 course at Memorial at the St. John's campus. MI has their own My MI, and I believe the librarian has done a little section for that. And there's also the Grenfell experience, and our librarians over at Grenfell help prepare a section on the library for that. All new incoming students will have to take the academic integrity course, and that's a course run out of the library, so you will probably encounter that as well. And then there's also an optional course for you that's available whenever you want. It's called the Library Research Essentials, or the LRE, and it's a course within Brightspace that you can actually enroll yourself in. And the link is on our website as well to do that. So if you want to know more about how to construct your searches when you're looking for articles or resources, that course can help you do that. And I think that's it. I think I covered everything on my list. But if anybody has any other questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Yeah, you covered a lot of great things. I recommend that library course. Before you need to do the research, though.
Yes, yeah.
I feel like I did some research stuff, and I wish I'd taken the course before I ended up doing those things.
If you are a new incoming non-transfer student, you will be automatically registered for the academic integrity course. It's not a semester-long course. It's going to take you a couple of hours. So you'll automatically be registered in that within Brightspace, and you'll also get emails about that as well. MUN 101, I am not sure how people get into that one. Hopefully you'll get emails or something about it. Does the library course have a CRN? I'm not sure, but everybody who needs to take it will be automatically enrolled. The academic integrity course is on how to conduct research and being a student in an honest and sort of with integrity. So making sure you don't copy, making sure when you're citing your sources, you're citing them appropriately, so who's reading your paper know that you're building on other work. Those are the big topics, but it's about making sure that you conduct research and your schoolwork ethically. Okay, perfect. So all first-year students are automatically registered for MUN 101. You will see it in Brightspace. And I think that the library section rolls out on Monday, I believe, because I worked on that as well.
Fantastic.
Okay.
So if there isn't any other questions, you all have a couple more minutes to get the questions in the chat, if there are anything. We can wrap up in case you have anything else to add, Megan.
I just wanted to say thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk to you. I really appreciate it. And I'm glad that it's available for everybody.
Thank you. I'm sure everyone really appreciates it, and I appreciate you taking time out of your day to share that information with us.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you so much. Hopefully we'll see you on campus sooner than later.
I'm sure we will.
Yeah. Well, thank you, everyone. I hope I enjoy the day, but if you're in Newfoundland, it's a little wet out there. But I hope everyone really took some information away from today, and you utilize that information in your upcoming year, especially online. And Megan, thank you so much for helping us and sharing the information and what your job is. You seem to really enjoy it.
I do. Yeah. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Have a good day, everyone. Bye.